What is the connection between Moshiach, a treasure, and a scorpion? Our sages tell us an interesting thing that Moshiach will come when the Jewish people will despair of the redemption. And they teach us in that vein, there's a teaching that the Talmud mentions that there are three things that come unexpectedly, behesach hadas, when a person is not paying attention. They are Moshiach, a mitzvah, a treasure that someone finds unexpectedly. He was not expecting to find this treasure. And a scorpion. When a scorpion bites someone, obviously that person was not expecting it. If he was, he probably would have avoided the bite. So in a very literal, simple sense, the Talmud is telling us that Mashiach can come at any moment. We should not try to figure out ahead of time the exact pattern, sequence of events that will lead up to Mashiach. As much as we do know is matched by what we don't know, and therefore we should just expect Mashiach to come unexpectedly. And furthermore, when we least expect Mashiach, when sometimes according to our calculations it doesn't make sense for Mashiach to come, or when emotionally we despair, we feel that exile has been for so long, and particularly at the end of exile it says that the darkness will become so strong that we won't be able to entertain the thought that the redemption is actually approaching ever quickly, is approaching very quickly. It is particularly then when the redemption will arrive. Why is this so? So the meaning behind this is because the coming of Mashiach is not a natural event. It doesn't follow the weather forecaster could tell you exactly what the weather will be, at least to some degree, based on looking at the factors that he's able to pick up with his eyes, with the machinery, with the equipment that he has, and analyzing the data and tell you how the weather will be tomorrow, the next 10 days, whatever it is. Because he's dealing with a natural pattern of events. It's a natural cause and effect. Mashiach will not follow a natural pattern of events, a natural cause and effect. It's a godly process. It's something which will happen spontaneously. In this vein, there's a verse that we say in the Tehillim. It says, Shira Malis B'shuv Hashem as Shiva Tzina Yinuka Chilman. When Hashem will return, the captivity of Tzion, of Zion, will be like dreamers. And there's interesting interpretation that when a person dreams, he could be dreaming that he's in America, and a second later he's dreaming he's in Israel. How did he get from one place to the next? In a dream, nothing takes time. To go from one place to the next place, it doesn't take any time whatsoever. All of a sudden, the scene just changes. Similarly, with the coming of Mashiach, Mashiach will come spontaneously. In 1 second, everything will change. You won't be able to realize what's happening. It will be like a dream. Just all of a sudden, a complete shift of events, a complete change, a radical, spontaneous change. Why? Because Mashiach is a godly event. When Hashem does something, He doesn't have to follow laws of nature. It doesn't take a lot of time for Hashem to get results. He could make a complete turnaround of events, a complete shift of the scene in the world in a second, in a split second. So therefore, our approach to Mashiach should not be based on trying to figure out and speculate and try to figure out the sequence of events or a specific date. We have to realize that it's something which surpasses our understanding. It could happen at any time, particularly now when we're holding at the last moments of exile, when we're standing at the threshold of redemption. There's no need to make calculations. We just have to be ready, and at any moment it could happen. But if so, a person could ask a question: if the redemption comes spontaneously, Mashiach will come on the scene, will make the whole world become aware of Hashem spontaneously in a way that we cannot fathom, we cannot predict. What is the point of us preparing for Mashiach, understanding about Mashiach? And the answer lies in the Gemara's analogy comparing the coming of Mashiach to a treasure or a scorpion. And the meaning is that a treasure and a scorpion are both two things that happen unexpectedly. However, a treasure is a pleasant surprise, whereas a scorpion is an unpleasant surprise. The bite of a scorpion is an unpleasant surprise. So whatever we do to prepare for Mashiach, we can never be prepared. As much as we are thinking about Mashiach and preparing for Mashiach, the Talmud tells us that Mashiach will come behesach hadas. He will surpass our understanding. Obviously, the Talmud doesn't mean to say that we shouldn't be thinking about Mashiach, because the Torah requires us to pray 3 times a day, and to pray for Moshiach. We are commanded to continuously anticipate Moshiach. What the Talmud means to say that Moshiach will come when we are not paying attention means that as much attention that we do pay to Moshiach, it can never really grasp, it can never really capture what Mashiach is all about. The Mashiach will come, even the person that's thinking about Mashiach 24 hours a day will be completely surprised. Will be caught by surprise. It will be something which is beyond his imagination. We cannot really fathom and imagine what it will be. But the question is, how will we be surprised? Will it be a pleasant surprise? Will this be something that we were thinking about and looking forward to, and what actually happens, and we're like caught off guard, but we're like, we found a treasure? Or is it going to be like a bite of a scorpion? Say, oh no, I wish I would have been a little bit more prepared for this. This wasn't exactly, I was busy with other things, and all of a sudden this came my way. So this depends on us. If we prepare ourselves by focusing on Mashiach, by learning about Mashiach, then although we will be caught by surprise, it will be a very pleasant surprise. On the other hand, if we're not interested in Mashiach, we just doing our own thing, Mashiach will come anyway, we'll be surprised. But then we will be we might feel like the bite of a scorpion, like all of a sudden something happened which we weren't ready for, and we have to adjust ourselves, and we're involved in things that were completely different, and all of a sudden things change and we're not ready for it. So that's why it's important to prepare ourselves for Mashiach. And in essence, diverting our attention also means, in a positive sense, a lot of people, each have our own desires. Each one has Mashiach for their own personal reason. This person wants to be reunited with a lost relative. This person wants to see an end of war in the world. This person wants to have more peace and harmony and love amongst his family, and all different types of wonderful things that Mashiach will introduce and perfect the world. However, the Talmud teaches us that ultimately the reason why we want Mashiach is because that is the big plan that Hashem has for the creation of the world, to have a dira b'tachtenim, to have a dwelling place in this lower world. Thus, we have to divert our attention. We should not focus on Mashiach for what we want, for what our attention is focused on, for our personal needs, as important as they are. But ultimately, in order to draw down Mashiach, since Mashiach is something which surpasses all of our particular needs, Mashiach is something which is all-encompassing, we have to focus on forgetting about ourselves and seeing the bigger picture. Why do we need Mashiach? Not just because Mashiach will take care of our own personal problems, but because Mashiach will introduce the master plan for creation when the whole world will become aware of Hashem. Hashem should help that we should all greet Mashiach spontaneously, quickly, happily, and we should all merit to see the rebuilding of the third temple and gathering of the exiles in the kingdom of Mashiach speedily in our days. Amen.